Welcome back to Grief Inspired. I want to encourage you to grab a cup of your favorite, preferably non-alcoholic beverage, to settle in, and let's talk about sharing stories. So my name is Catherine McNulty, and here at Grief Inspired, I bring light to the darkness of grief. I provide you with education and tools that you can use to help heal the pain of grief. And I want to encourage you, when you are ready, to create a whole new future that's inspired by your loss. Something that's unexpected, that honors the person that you're missing, that makes everything that you're going through now have more meaning and purpose. And that's where the inspiration part comes of Grief Inspired, is I want you to inspire you to go through the process. I want to inspire you to educate yourself, and I want to inspire you to believe fundamentally that you can be happy again after loss. And is the process easy? Absolutely not. But it is something that I want to encourage you to do, because you'll be happy and have more meaning in your life when you do. So today we're going to talk about stories and the importance of sharing stories. And it's one of the reasons why I love what I do here, is because I want to be able to give you a platform and give you an opportunity where you can share more about the person that you're missing, where you can talk about them, you can say their name, you can share the memories and the happy things that you also think about. You know, so much as part of our grief is we can get really comfortable in the pain, and we can get comfortable being depressed. But we need to remind ourselves that the reason why we're grieving at all is because we love them so much. We love them so much, and there was so much that we miss about them now. And there's so much that's still left to share. And so that's what today's video about, is sharing. So I want you to take a minute and think about, what are the stories that you can share? You can share them here, you can share them in my Facebook community, you can share them even to yourself in your journal, your Grief Inspired journal, right? You can share them with your friends. No one's going to not want to hear a happy, uplifting story about the person that you're missing. And we talk a lot in some of my courses about how we get hyper-focused on the period of time, maybe leading up to their death, or the weeks and the few months that have just passed by where you've been in so much pain. And we sometimes forget that the reason why we are grieving is because we love them so much, and we miss them, and we want them with us. And we don't want their memory to fade. And so this is a way to keep that memory from fading, right? And to bring to the surface, to bring to your mind, right? And to your heart, the things that you find endearing, the things that delight you, the things that bring you joy. Where are the moments where they made you laugh? Where are the moments where they're the ones that you remember? Even if it's the moments when they were irritating you, or you were fighting, or they did the same thing that they always do, leaving socks on the floor, or leaving the toilet seat up, or whatever those things are. The places that you went to visit, the places that were special to you, the events that you did, the holidays that you shared. There's so many of things that, yes, maybe they can initially, some of them can cause us pain for sure. But the reason why the pain is there, you need to remember, is because you love them so much. So I want to encourage you to share your stories, to share them here in the comment section, to send me an email with your stories at griefinspired@gmail.com. or to join my GriefInspired Facebook group and share them there. But the point is that I want to hear your story. You deserve to talk about your loved one, even when the people around you don't seem to encourage it. And it's because they don't know. It's because they don't know that you need to speak your loved one's name. They don't know that you think about them every day, all day long, the good and the bad and everything. And it's so encompassing for you. And you're still trying to go through your life and your day-to-day, right? Acting as if, or we talked in other videos about pretending, right? And it can be a challenge to be thinking about someone so much and not be able to share what you're thinking, and to share the memories and the things that make you laugh and the things that make you chuckle. And, you know, I had someone recently send me a story, and I said, how did you meet? And this is a woman that she lost her husband of 32 years to non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. It was a little, although he had been, you know, in and out of remission, they didn't expect him to go when he did. And she's struggling to figure out how to keep going. And she's coming up on the year anniversary. And so we talked about, tell me a story. And the story that she chose to tell me was a story of when they met, the first day that they met. And they were both country singers, and they had gone and were staying at an Opry house where they hadn't met yet, but they were both at the same house. She was on stage getting ready to perform on the piano, and he came up on the stage, told her to hit a G on the piano, and he started tuning his guitar. Now, she didn't know who he was. She wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention, but she knew he was funny. And she knew that it was somebody that she said to her friends, I want to get to meet this person. I need to know this person. And so what happened was she put that in motion, and she got to meet him, and they talked for hours, and they had talked so much that the blind date that she had come with and knew that that wasn't going to work out, finally left with someone else. And she made a point of sharing that the person that her blind date with, who left with the man that she was talking to, his sister. So life has a funny way of working out. But it was that one conversation where they met, where they were sharing their love of music, that turned into 32 years of love and life and kids and stories and memories and all of it. And so sometimes we get surprised by how much our grief is overwhelming us. And I just want to remind you, whatever time you had with your loved one before they passed on, there's a lot of years typically. I had 6 weeks, but there's with my infant, right? But there's still so many stories. There's so many things that we can share. And there's all these memories and all these feelings and all of the love. But yet somehow we just believe that we should be able to move on quickly and not feel the pain of their loss, the pain of the void that's left when they're no longer here with us. And so the way to fill up some of that void is to share stories. So that was one story that I just shared about how a couple met and stayed together for 32 years. And I can guarantee that if I asked her for more stories, she could tell me story after story after story. And I know that you have those stories too. And so I want to encourage you to share those stories here with me. Say their name out loud. Talk about why those stories and those memories are so important to you. And what does it mean? And we need to keep in mind that not everybody else understands necessarily where we're coming from. And so in some ways we have the opportunity to be able to share who they were and what they meant to us. You know, I have my own story where my son was born on December 15th. And when it got to be Christmas Eve, what I wanted for Christmas Eve and what my husband and I joked about more than anything on Christmas Eve, although it wasn't necessarily a joke, but we said, we just want you to poop for Christmas, right? My little couple-week-old infant, right? If he could just poop on Christmas, well, that would mean that his digestive tract was working, and that would be a good thing. And so that's our story of that little moment that we're like, can you please just poop? And I was delighted and felt inspired when I got the phone call in the middle of the night, because my husband used to stay at nighttime with my son, and I would take the day shift. So there would be times when I would go back to get a couple hours of sleep. But I'll tell you what, shortly after Christmas Day had come, in the middle of the night, right, that morning of December 25th, I got a phone call from my son, or from my husband, and I got up a little bit in a panic because I didn't know how things were going to go. But he shared with me, he said he pooped. And we laughed together. And it was such a moment. And for a couple of hours that day, we were so happy. I never thought that I'd want poop for Christmas. But that Christmas all those years ago, that's what I wanted. And remembering that story and laughing about that story makes me feel lighter, right? I say Grief Inspired is to bring light to the darkness of your grief. This is an opportunity today to bring some light to your grief. And you can do that by sharing your story. And by sharing your story, other people can hear your story too. So if you are brave enough and bold enough to want to jump on a Zoom call with me and share your story so that the rest of the world can hear your story, I want to make that possible for you. And we can do that. So send me an email at griefinspired@gmail.com if you want to do that. But do not wait. Share some of your story here. What are the things that bring you joy? What are the memories that come up when I ask you, what are the things you loved most about them? What's something funny that you can share? What's something endearing when they were there for you when you needed them? What's something that made you feel lighter when you could do something for them? Because that brought you meaning and purpose. The meaning and the purpose and the love and the memories, these are the things that stay. They don't leave when your loved one physically leaves this earth. You carry them in our heart. You carry them in your heart. And by sharing them, you make that memory bigger. And to me, that's just a beautiful way to honor who they was and who they were and why that was important to you. And to understand that this is a significant impact on your life. If you are here, if you are watching my videos, then your grief is real. And that the impact that your loved one has had on you is significant. And it's not to be minimized. It's the opposite. It's to be shared. It's to be shared with others. It's to be shared with the world. So I want to encourage you to do that today. Like I said, share in the comments. Send me an email and say, I'd like you're welcome to read this. I will read the stories online because I think we need to hear the stories. Like I said, if you want to come on and do a video with me on Zoom, there's nothing that I would love more, because it's a way to honor the process, to honor everything that you're going through too. You know, I have a t-shirt that says honor the struggle, right? It's a way to honor all of it and how important it is to you and honestly to all of us, because it's in our community and our connectedness that we can grow and we can heal. And that's what I want for all of you, so that you can be grief inspired. And I'm going to share in another video more details about what I've seen grief inspired becoming and what I mean in a big way to be grief inspired, so that you can get there too. Because if you're here and if you're watching and if you like my videos, I want that for you. And it means it's possible for you. And so I want you to not have to do it alone, because it's too hard to do alone. You can do it, but it's too hard. So let's just do it together. What do you say?